Yeah, hi there, Willy D here. I completed this refurbished wood and put in a white 2x2 here to make it, give it a prettier look. And on the back I put just a 3/4 inch ply to string them together with some screws as a table. You're not really going to see it like this, but I wanted to make a really strong stand. So I've taken this old form tube that I used for the deck, and I'm thinking of actually putting the table on it like this and bringing it down to couch height. But I want to show you how I do that. Right? So I'll just put this table aside here. There we go. And what I did was I got a piece of old like Kellogg's cornflakes or whatever box, and cut out a disc that fits around the top here from the outside of the tube so that it fits, so you know it's the right size, and then copied it down, or you can use a compass, on a piece of plywood. This has a bit of canvas on it from another experiment, but it is just a piece of 3/4 inch ply. There's the canvas, see. And what I'm going to do is put this, I've already shaped and ground and sanded this a bit so it fits in there like that, right? I sawed off this part of the tube and I ground it level. You know, I made a pencil mark, a felt pin mark. You can see there's a black felt pin mark all the way around, and then made it level, so that's ready. And this needs to be, whoops, it's going down. There we go, it fell through the tube. I'm going to glue this in here, and I'll make another second one for the bottom. I don't know how sturdy this is going to be yet, but we'll get to that later. And to cut this, you can use a wood saw, right? You can just cut through this with the standard wood saw, but you may have to, you know, put it down on something and take a pin like at a level and then turn it around it and then grind it so that it's really nice and level. Now, when I've done that, I most likely cover this with some kind of, you know, it could be whatever you like. You like boats, you know, magazine boats, old boats you could put on it, or dinky toys, or comic strips like I did with the helmets. And you put them on there and varnish it, and you've got a stand. So I'm going to cut this and make a second piece of wood for this, which I cut out with the jigsaw first, of course. But you know, then I'm going to put one on this side, one on the other, and then see where I'm going to go with that, and cut it down to the right size. So there you go. It's fairly straightforward. So what I did was I went inside to the table inside the living room that's the right height, put the felt pen onto the table here and held it, and I put this tube up and marked all the way around from floor level to where I want the height. Like that. And now I'll hold this up and you can see there's a felt pin mark there, see? Right? And that's what I'm going to saw right now. Standard saw, put it on the black line. It's cardboard. It's cardboard, it's easy to cut. There we go. The next step is the edges are a little rough here. So we're going to take a Dremel and we're going to clean up the edges quickly. I have a little bit of sandpaper on there on the end of the Dremel. And there you go. I'm going to have to cut out a second piece of wood for the top here. So I've been grinding grinding with the Dremel just to get this level here. You want to have it level this way, this way, this way. Check it around and just grind down the high spot till it's nice, very nice and level. Now you got both sides of your tube really quite level. And now you're ready to put on something here to enhance the look. And then I gotta find something for maybe to put legs in this, unless it's okay. Stands on its own, but it might not be strong enough, like it might be a little bit overbalanced on the table. Might have to put some kind of legs on it. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I got a jigsaw and cut out these two tops. There you go. 1, 2. So that's there. Yeah, I used this old jigsaw. I got for a couple of bucks. A jigsaw. And then, you know, I took this grinder with the sand disc on it and just sanded it down around quickly. Doesn't take long. Now I'm going to use the LePage PL 8x Strong Plus in here. I'm going to put it around this wood here. I've already put it inside the tube bit so we don't have to watch it all. And I'm just going to, here we go. I have a monitor down below the camera so I can see what I'm doing. A little dark in here. Just put this glue around this edge here like that. This is never coming out once this dries. There's a fair bit of glue. Now I've got this already in the inside of the tube here. Right? I already have it around the edge here of the tube, so it's already ready to go. Now I'll just drop this in here. Of course I'm going to get a bit of glue on me. Being stubborn, huh? And just pop that in like that. Got to go underneath and level it. Push it out a bit. More. There we go. I'm just looking at the monitor to do this. Now I can do the other one on the other side. This one on the other side. And that way I can attach whatever I want to this tube. I can put the tabletop on here now if I want. And on the bottom I can attach whatever I want for legs or if I need them. So. Now to carry on with the tube to make it look like it's, you know, not a construction tube, which it does at the moment. It looks terrible. I have found a book I've had laying around for years. I studied film way back and someone gave me this book, but it's been in a bookshelf for years and years, Hollywood, and you know it has these fantastic pictures and I can't use that one because it's on the hardcover, but there's a whole pile of them here that could be used. You know, the whole book is full of this. Let's get another one. Oh, look at the lovely car one here. The whole book is full, and I'm going to cut those out and I'll bring it up close there. I'm going to cut these out and paste them onto this tube. Now, what I'm going to use to paste them on the gel, I've got a couple of brushes to try out, my scissors for cutout, and a golden gel medium. It says clear tar gel. I don't know whether I've used this one. I've used another medium before on the hockey helmets, but let's try this one. So I'm going to open this up, cut some of these paper clippings out, and then we'll start pasting, having some fun. And cutting out the images now, there you go. Different images to paste on. I've already torn over the book. Pasting is what's fun. There's another one. All right, I got my first image up. I'm doing it on a breadboard. Got it already a little wet. I'm going to put this right in here like this. Oh, we'll try this brush, bit of gel. Gel medium. Doesn't matter what product, long if it doesn't soak into the paper too much, you know. It cause you problems, you're okay. Now, last time I did a helmet, I did it actually on the surface as well, but I don't know if it's needed here. Dries very quick, so I want to keep the color though, see? Yeah, we got a little bit of a ripple here. Let's hope this all dries out. It doesn't matter if you get some crinkles in it, it kind of makes it look old, so. I might need some water here to help me out a bit. Drying very fast, isn't it? There we go. I like the crinkles actually. I may need to wet the tube a little, so I'm going to get myself a little water. There you go, so there's the first one on. So I'm putting on the glue and wetting this and putting it on real fast. You can see it's nearly dry again. Now, the hard part is once you start, doing collages and going different ways, you got to try to fill in these gaps of cardboard, and you want to keep this main person in here and that. So I have to cut these out, and trim them off a little, because you want to keep the character underneath, that character say. I want to keep that. I want to keep his leg and this guy's head. So I'm going to go cut that very close. So it's kind of a fun process. See, there we go. And I get that in there then and come across here. Now the lady's head is a bit out. I don't want to cover her head and I don't want to cover that guy. So you can see the little issues you're going to have. So I got to cut this lady's head out at the bottom and get this man in again. So we'll do a little thing of, we'll cut up here a bit and see what happens. Make it in kind of a pear shape and see what happens. See, now I'm beginning to get to where I want to be. Well, I'm still a way out on this guy over here, his foot and her head, so let's go in here now. Let's try to keep some of the bottom in. There we go. So now his foot is in, her head is in, and the only thing I'm cutting off is this guy down here. I'm cutting off that guy. So we've got to keep working on this still a bit more until I get this right in there. And there you got it. I got his leg in here. I got this guy's foot in. I had to compromise a little bit on this guy down here, but I really like the way that looks. And it's all about having fun with it and compromising a little and seeing what you end up with. See how that looks? Now I got to do a couple more, and we're getting close to finish slowly, as you can see. Right. It's going to look lovely. I just want to show you this little trick. Sometimes you want to cut out in the shape of the person. It gives it nearly a comic strip effect. Comic book effect, I should say. And you can see it brings this line up here like this, and I'm covering in there, but I made this kind of comic outline there, which really adds when you're doing these features, It really helps the look afterwards. Just thought I'd add that in. I'm going to keep pasting. So I'm just putting on one of the last pieces here, covering this little spot here. You can see there's a little brown there. So you got to make sure you cover all these brown spots. I let my glue dry again. You have to go very quick with the paste. And you have to keep this wet. And it goes way better than the paper kind of crumples on. So I've got a little bit of hang of it. I think I'll put this one a little bit of an angle. And I really don't want to destroy that image down there, so I'm going to go a little smaller. Now, I filled in up top somewhere as well. In here I put a little one of the camera photographer's heads in here, but the tabletop's going to come over top, so you're not going to really see them, but I still kind of feel I have to do that. So there we go. And a good idea is to get some water and go over the paper and try to get some of these crinkles to sink in a bit more. Oops, there's a loose bit, see? Doesn't matter if it crumples a bit, this is what our end result is. I have a little bit of loose ends, but we'll clean them up in a minute. So you get the general gist. There's our film table. A little wet there, wipe it with a paper towel. There we go. Well, the paper's pretty dry now with the glue. I've just ground off a little bit of the top here so the paper's a bit cleaner. I just cut it off on the bottom. And now I'm going to use a little bit different. You can use spray-on varnish or urethane. But what I'm going to use is art. This is Steveston Country Daymar solution for fine art. So I'm going to brush this on instead. Just so, you know, I think it gives it a little bit of a gloss, but it's just what I want to do today. So there we go. I'm going to brush this all over this tube until it's completed, until it's totally covered in varnish, and let it dry. There we go. All varnished. Now all we got to do is let it dry and put the top on. And it should be done. I'll show the epoxy of the top. I'm not using any screws for the top, so just clean my brush here. That wasn't too hard. It's looking lovely. So we're on our last phase of the table. I put the, I have a stool here and I put the tabletop upside down, and we're going to epoxy this to the bottom of the tabletop. We've measured all around, so this is central, and made a pencil mark around, and I picked this fellow sitting here, comedian, as my side view to that way. So I've decided that's what I want facing out on my table. Now, all we got to do now is take the famous epoxy and make sure you don't do it accidentally, put it the wrong way around. So I'll stand it like that so I bring it down properly. Now here's my epoxy, which I use throughout the table. I'm going to bring it up so you can see it. There you go. It's LePage PL, and then it's a Fast Grab Premium. And down here on the side it says 8X, which is really important because it's really strong. Now you really don't need any screws in this table at all if you're using this stuff. This stuff is so strong. It's like no screws are needed. That's what's great about it. So I'm going to apply this here. Big wad of it. Oh. You gotta make sure it sticks, you know. There we go. There we go, it's nearly ready. And I'll put some on top of the tube here. Put some on here as well. There's kind of canvas board on this, I gotta make sure it sticks. That's pretty much it. Loosen out, baby. Come on. There we go. You gotta loosen the tension off, otherwise the glue keeps pouring out on this guns. I'm just gonna get a knife and spread it around. Got this putty knife, this old knife I always use. Oh, let me sit down again. So I'll just spread it around a bit. Make sure it's everywhere. Up here, I'm going to do the same. I'm keeping it well away from the edge because I don't want to have any glue pouring out my paper. It's looking pretty good. A little bit more, maybe. We'll make sure it bonds really well. Somebody lifts the table up later on, you don't want the stand to come up. There we go. That should do it. Just put a toolbox or something on top to weigh it down, and it's done. Right, here we go. And I wanted this fella out, pencil line. Now if you're a bit worried about how it's sticking, you can always have a quick look and see if it's catching, right? Catching enough glue. I'm going to twist it a bit. And there you are. And that's it. That's our table done. Now just put a toolbox on top here. And give it a bit of weight for an hour or two. Okay. We're all done. Hope you enjoyed the video. And you know, have a go and make yourself a lovely retro table of your own. If you have a floor and you're worried about scratching, you just buy the felt self-adhesive stick-on felt pieces and you stick 4 of them on here so your floor won't get scratched. Or you can glue a felt on there or anything you like. But the pads are really easy to stick on. Put a bit of weight on top to press it down, keep it pressed, and we're all done. Keep restoring, keep reclaiming.